The Blue Rose romantic fantasy role-playing game uses the Adventure Game Engine, or otherwise known as the Age system. It's also used for games like Dragon Age, Fantasy Age, Modern Age, and The Expanse. Blue Rose is a role-playing game, so you take on the role of a particular character in a fantasy world called Aldea, which we'll be taking a closer look at later. In this game, you go through a series of steps in order to define who your character is, their background, their abilities, and the things that are important to them. Then you'll choose one of three classes: Adept, Expert, or Warrior. Warriors fight. Experts have all sorts of skills, and Adepts have different arcane powers. Although there's some crossover between the classes, with each one having a bit of the others in it. The basic mechanic of the Age system is called a test of a character's ability. This is a roll of 3 6-sided die. You add up the numbers on the dice, add the value of the character's ability, and compare that total against a target number from 7 for a really routine test to as high as 21 for something truly epic. So if my character wants to win over a bureaucrat who controls access to the noble that she needs to see, for example, I might roll a test of her communication abilities and prove just how charming she can be. The narrator says it is a challenging test, so my target number is 13. I roll the dice, and I have a 3, a 3, and a 4. Then I add her communication ability, which is 3, to the total of 13. This is just enough. What's more, my character is pretty good at dealing with people. She has a communication focus in persuasion, so getting people to agree with me. A focus gives you a +2 bonus on tests of that ability related to it. So I add 2 more to my total, which gives me 15, enough to overcome a fairly hard test according to the test rules. Where the Age system adds a little extra spice is in how the dice fall. Remember when I rolled those 2 3s and a 4? Well, when 2 or more dice match in a test, you get an extra stunt point, equal to the result of one of the dice, which is called the drama die. You can spend those stunt points right away to improve the results of your test in different ways, ranging from tricky combat maneuvers to extra insights to really impressing people. Since this is an interaction, I can then use my stunt points for a role-playing stunt. I get 3 points because that's the number on the drama die. That's enough for a stunt like Stun Silence if I really wanted to make an impression, but even better is the new friend stunt. Then I would have the ability to immediately have that bureaucrat take a liking to my character and move her right to the head of the line. These kind of tests are how virtually everything in Blue Rose works. Choose an action, test an ability, see if you rolled well enough to succeed, and then spend any stunt points you get to make your efforts even better. Now, if I hadn't rolled well, I might not have succeeded in my task, but Blue Rose takes into account that determination matters when it comes to trying to succeed. Players get points called Conviction. They can then spend to re-roll die when they need to try again, or for their characters to recover or otherwise avoid harm. Characters get their Conviction points back by acting in accordance with their calling, but everyone has both a destiny and a fate related to their calling, and either one can get you more conviction. Destiny is the most heroic and noble expression of the character, while their fate is the most selfish and often cruel. So sometimes you have to decide if your character is going to give in to some of their worst impulses in order to get what they want. Blue Rose uses different tarot cards, what they call the Royal Road, to describe calling, destiny, and fate. Calling are major arcana, and destiny and fate are minor arcana. So, for example, my character has the Sun as her calling, which is championing the everyday. She believes in standing up for people who might not be able to do so themselves. Her destiny is the Queen of Chalices, so she's devoted to people and her cause. Her fate, on the other hand, is the King of Chalices, meaning she is reactionary and can sometimes overreact without thinking things through. The other thing that makes the romantic fantasy role-playing game romantic is the relationship rules. Blue Rose lets you define your character's relationships and assign intensities to them, like abilities, and you can draw on that intensity during the game for added conviction, so long as what you're doing involves your relationship. Now, this can be a romantic relationship, but it can also mean friends, family, comrades, even enemies. An intense rivalry or a thirst for vengeance can drive a character as much as love and devotion could. Plus, characters' relationships can evolve and change, becoming more and less intense as time goes on, being redefined as the story moves on. This is all a part of characters leveling up in Blue Rose, which happens as the story progresses and they accomplish things. Just like in many RPGs, characters gain abilities and power as they gain levels, but they also gain accolades, join groups, and build more and different relationships as they grow as characters. In my next video, we'll be taking a look at the kinds of characters that you can play in Blue Rose and the world that they live in. But for now, tell me in the comments below which kind of character you would play. A warrior, an adept, or an expert. Be bold, play games, be you. Happy gaming!